Hey, you're listening to A Chat with Heart. I'm your host, Christina Martin. I'm a singer-songwriter, curious human. I live on a dirt road in rural Nova Scotia with my partner in crime, Dale, and our calico cat, Olivia. This podcast is basically just me chatting with people I admire. I like to ask questions that feed my curiosity, and my guests have all taught me something. They either crack me up or they punch me right in the feels. If you've got questions, comments, or a burning desire to join the conversation, please call my Heartbeat hotline, day or night. It's 1-902-669-4769. You can also email me at christinamartinmusic@gmail.com. And if you want to throw a little love my way and help keep this thing going, visit my Patreon page. That's how artists like me get paid. Thanks for showing up. Warning, heartfelt content ahead. If we just talk about it, we could shine a light, we could break a dark day. If we just talk about it, we can cut away, we can make a brighter day. Hello, my little Heartbeat listeners, and welcome to any new listeners. I've got a very special guest today. His name's Mike Aubé. He's a musician, an author, a healer, an all-around inspiring human being. Yeah, those are the kinds of people I like to chat with heart with. First, I just want to give you a little bit of a personal update. Upcoming shows. Not a ton of shows, but I do love playing close to home. And so October 4th, I'll be performing with my wonderful best friend, Dale Murray, on guitar, and my wonderful friend, Hannah Melanson, on the keyboard, in Black Point, Nova Scotia. It's a house concert in a beautiful setting, a beautiful venue, thanks to Diana and Graham Higgs, parents of Rebecca Higgs, for saying yes to this fun event and hosting. You can get your tickets for that show through my website, christinamartin.net, but it's also, the tickets are actually on sale on Side Door, which is a platform that helps bridge the gap between the audience and the artist and the hosts, and makes for really beautiful performances. So Black Point, Nova Scotia, I've never performed at this wonderful location before. And then later on in October, I have a show with the same besties, Dale and Hannah. We're going to be playing in Lunenburg at the Opera House as part of their weekend series. So you can find out more about that on my website. And then we're going to be in New Brunswick. Yes, at the beautiful hall. And what is the name of the hall? Oh my God, why am I drawing a blank? Probably because I've been fighting a bug. So I'm going to go to my website right now, christinamartin.net. I'm following the process that you're going to go through. Harvey Hall. And I shouldn't have forgotten that, because I actually lived in Harvey Station, which is not the Harvey that I'm playing in New Brunswick. So I know my friend James Mullinger, when he does shows at Harvey Hall, he has had some experiences where people have driven to the wrong Harvey. They've driven to Harvey Station, which is hours away. So don't make that mistake. It's Harvey, New Brunswick, near Alma, New Brunswick. And so just check out on my website the details and the address. But this is a really cool old hall. I got to see James there recently. It's beautiful, beautiful venue, and I really wanted to play there for a long time now. So that's October 26th. I don't have any other gigs booked yet for the rest of the season, but you know what? You can check back on christinamartin.net, or I'll probably talk about it on the podcast if something fun comes up. So we are just about finished booking a very short, a couple weeks long tour in Europe, in Germany specifically, next April, May. And I don't have the tour dates posted yet, but I'm working on wrapping that all up and posting that and announcing officially soon. So stay tuned. We don't do a lot of touring anymore. I'll be honest, it's been very challenging to get the momentum and find enough resources to make that happen. Things have changed, maybe changed in me, but also since the pandemic. And so I've been focusing on kind of all the things that really matter to me and playing less, but when we do play, really making it count. And like this last weekend, we got to share the stage with Joel Plaskett in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, down on the waterfront. It was such a beautiful setting. I think they had about 250, 300 people come out, and we got to play. That was really fun. But then we got to watch a master perform and share his stories about the songs, and you could hear a pin drop. He really had everybody under a spell, and Joel was able to take requests and just go with the flow and kept the show going. It was just really magical. He is, I don't think I've ever seen him perform a whole show. We've met many times in passing and shared the stage at fundraisers and whatnot. And he's always been, such a great person to talk to. And, he's a star, so I've never seen the whole show, and it was just him and Snickers, who is his sound engineer that he travels with. And Snickers helps with so much, and we love Snickers too. So it was really a treat last weekend. My point being that when we do go out and tour and do shows, it's a treat. We're not doing it as much anymore, but when we do, it's got to tick all the boxes for me at my stage in my life and in my, I guess my core values and whatnot. So just know that every show you come to is ticking a box for me. and I love it when you come out and support. And I wish we could do it more. And maybe we will someday. So let's see. I just launched a new single called Golden Tears. If you haven't checked it out, it's a song I wrote about a woman named Joanne Frank. And it's really a bit of a love letter to the Elizabeth Fry Society of Mainland Nova Scotia and Joanne's experience with them. And another magic moment, we played at the Carlton in Halifax early September, a couple weeks ago. And I got to meet Joanne for the first time. And she came out to the show with Emma from Elizabeth Fry Society. And it was just so awesome, to meet her and see how wonderful she's doing and to meet her husband. And I hope Joanne and I get to hang out again. Actually, I know we will, because we're going to have Joanne and Emma on the podcast in the future. So I'm working on making that happen. So I have a Heartbeat hotline that you can call. You can leave a message on, and let me pull up the phone number. Though I think we say it a million times on the in the intro, maybe, and at the end. Here's the number: 1-902-669-4769. It's an actual phone number. You can call and leave a message, a comment, anything you want. You can tell a joke and it might get played on the podcast. You can also just email me at christinamartinmusic@gmail.com. If you just want to say hi, that's great. I don't get a lot of calls and I don't get a lot of emails. I just want you to know I'm here if you need me, or if you want to share something. Maybe you want to wish somebody a special happy birthday, or talk about when you were bullied as a kid and give a shout out to your bully. Anything. All right. So let's focus now on the guest that I have here today. My guest today is Mike Aubé. He's a musician, singer-songwriter. He's an author. And he does many things actually. And part of his mission is to help other people find and maintain a sustainable sense of joy and calm and healing in their life. And I do shine a light on his book, Core Joy, which I've read, and I encourage you to pick up a copy online or in the boutique that he runs with his best friend Kim. The book is called Core Joy: Cultivating Sustainable Deep Happiness by Mike Aubé. And I think his story is about all kinds of things: resilience, creativity, and finding meaning in your life. And let's dive in. Let's dive into this great chat I had with my friend Mike. Hey, Mike.
Howdy.
Welcome to a Chat with Heart podcast.
Oh, thank you so much, Christina.
This is fun. I haven't done one in a while, and I think it's been a couple years that I've wanted to have you on here. And so I thank you so much for your patience. And also, I want to thank you for putting such beautiful things out into the world.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really glad we were able to do this.
Yeah, you're having a good day so far. You went for a jog, you said, or a run. Sorry, jog,
Yeah,
run. Is there a difference?
yeah. Well, it was more of a jog today. I did a little bit of intensity. I'm kind of coming back from an injury, so I'm taking a little easier. But I'm also training for a half marathon in 3 weeks. So
Oh, geez, what does that entail?
the half marathon is 21 kilometers
Oh,
of
God.
just running.
Mike, I just vomited in my mouth
Uh,
a little bit.
I know you stay pretty active, but you don't run a whole lot.
I don't. I did when I was younger, and I would try to run about like over an hour to get to that there's that point where I don't know, your body releases some kind of a adrenaline that makes you feel like you're high.
Yeah,
like
the
and
runner's
you're
high.
yeah, super fun. And then you could keep going and going. Um and now I just my physical activity routine is so I mix it up. Like I just try I like running when we travel it's cuz it allows me, especially on tour, because when you're touring, as you may know, the you don't have a whole lot of time to go and see things. So the running part would be when I could explore the town and like the little, cobblestone alleyways and where the baker was and that kind
Yeah,
of thing.
absolutely. Yeah. I took my daughter to New York a few years ago, and yeah, that was a nice thing that I liked about running too, is that you know, I was able to cover more kind of territory and see more things in a shorter amount of time. And
Hey, I wanted to start with some playful and personal fun fun questions before I kind of dig into. I want to talk about Core Joy, the book that you put out into this world, and also some of the other things you're involved in. But if you're cool with it, I'm just going to throw some kind of rando questions at you.
nice, I like it.
You ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What is the most joyful sound you know besides music?
The most joyful sound that I know besides music. Wow. The
Yeah, I
first thing
know.
that came to my head was a cat purring.
Oh my goodness. And you have a cat, a hairless cat.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I love that. You know what? I'm with you. I think I could say the same thing. Can you tell us a little bit about your cat?
I have three actually.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm so sorry I didn't give attention to the other. I
yeah,
just go right for the
the,
hairless cat.
the regular ones with the hair, with the fur. Yeah.
Oh my God.
um, yeah. So I have the hairless Sphinx cat named Baz,
Aw.
and Francis and Lewis are the others.
Do you have any favorites? I don't know if they understand English, so if they're listening to this, maybe you don't want to reveal.
Yeah. Well, Francis is definitely my girl.
Hmm.
She's like, I'm her favorite. I
Oh,
don't I don't play favorites with the cats really so much, but she's definitely, I'm her favorite, so that's
yeah.
nice.
I know Dale is our cat Olivia's favorite.
Yeah.
Handsome. Yeah. Well, that's really sweet. Okay. Do you have a guilty pleasure, like food, reading wise, listening, watching shows that always lifts your spirits? Like something you
Yeah,
might, yeah, what?
all of the like all of those categories.
Uh-huh.
My guilty pleasure in food is and this is so so terrible, but it's instant ramen like
Oh,
noodles.
yeah.
I love them. And I,
Yes.
you know,
Is there a
I think
healthy one?
I even mentioned it in my book that, my sodium intake
Yeah.
is
Is that an issue?
probably through the roof. No, I don't think so. I feel like I read an article recently that the link between sodium and blood pressure
Yeah.
may be a little bit overblown.
Okay.
Certainly, like if you have high blood pressure, it's not a good idea. Um, but I think people's sodium needs vary quite widely,
Yeah.
and like my blood pressure's good, and I crave salt all the time, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to my body.
Yeah. Same. I'm just going to hope that you're right on that. And,
Yeah.
but you know what? That triggers a memory for me when I was, really watching my money, and I worked at a middle school in Texas. My go-to lunch was ramen, and I would put tuna, frozen peas and corn, and instant mashed potatoes. I would cook that and whip that up, and I was obsessed.
Oh wow.
So I don't do that anymore, but I'm with you. There's a comfort in like ramen noodles. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Guilty pleasure on like watching like shows and things.
Hmm.
Um I try not to watch too much, but the medical show House MD
Uh-huh.
is a big one. I like that one.
I have not watched that. I know of it, but I've not watched it.
Yeah,
You're not into the reality TV? I feel like a lot of people get sucked into reality TV.
not so much. I've my friend Kim, who I run Realm Boutique with, she watches some of those, and she got me hooked on a few. We did RuPaul's Drag Race like five
Hmm.
or 6 years ago,
Yep.
quite a bit.
I do love RuPaul. I just watched Ru's masterclass,
Oh,
and it's
really?
yeah, it's very uplifting. Like especially like when I really am drawn to people who are uh well, people like you that are I'm very curious about, and I want to surround myself with information from people who are putting beautiful things and energy and encouraging other people to do that and be on their path, um, even though the world is scary and there's all these horrible things doing. Like it, that's just how I try to simplify it.
Yeah.
Where you can really, it's really easy to feel, helpless sometimes. And the thing that I can do as a way of serving others, there's a couple things that kind of pop out now when I felt so helpless before is like, okay, just keep making your music and putting it out and singing for people. And then, and this podcast, shine
Mhm.
a light on what other people are doing. And do you feel that way about your work as well? Like this is your way of serving others?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not doing it for the big bucks.
No? What? We're not rich yet?
No.
I'll send you
No.
your check
I mean,
for this podcast after.
yeah. Early in my career with songwriting, it was definitely self-focused.
Hmm.
It's you know learning about myself and putting my authentic self out there. And as you start to put it out for people, you see what impact it has, and then I think the motivation shifts a little bit.
Yeah,
And
totally.
yeah, and so the the reward that we get is less about our own. I mean, there's still some ego gratification for sure, but the purpose of it shifts towards other people, definitely.
I'm curious if you think that part of that shift and evolution is because you've done the personal work to, grow and expand yourself, and you, not that you don't suffer or have pain and struggles, but that you are more capable of coping with those, and so you feel like you have more space in your life to serve others or celebrate others or sing about or write about, yeah, the positive things
Yeah,
in your life. I don't know. That's
yeah, yeah. No, I think so. I think you know you. I think I got to a point where I was healed a certain amount from the struggles that I had, and yeah, I got to a point where it's like, oh, if I can help other people who s- suffer from the same types of things,
yeah.
then that's there's a saying about the um, the wounded healer, right? That
Mhm.
we we are best able to serve others and help them heal if we, you know, if if our paths are somewhat similar. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd be able to help people who have, you know, for example, eating disorders or something that I haven't lived through
Mhm.
as much as other things that I have lived through. So
I never thought about it until now, but when I was younger and, like, I would have read books and true stories from people who I learned a lot from because I found something similar, relatable, and thought, "Oh my goodness, like, okay," and I can, it sounds cliché, but like, "Oh, okay, they made something of their lives and they seem to be doing well and healthy and find happiness or joy," and so, there's that kind of, at the time you go, I could too. This is inspiring, you
right,
know?
yeah.
I know there's probably lots of small and big things in your life, but what's something bad that happened that led to something really positive? And it doesn't
That led,
mean, like, I don't
yeah,
mean something that you wish or you're glad happened, like a bad, but like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think you can have bad things happen that you wish had never happened, but at the same time, you're grateful that it happened because it really did make you stronger and make you who you are and lead you to people in your life. I guess you could say that about a lot of things, but if you could think of
Mhm.
an example, I think you would change the world with this podcast right now.
Yeah. I guess the primary thing, and it's not so much something that happened to me, like something external, but it's just the experience of going through um, a fairly lengthy depression
Mhm,
was that was kind of my origin story, if you will, about
mhm.
what I'm doing now.
Do you think I'm doing these things now as a result of that? Like, I don't wanna go back to that, or that it opened it up to, "Oh, this actually brings me joy and gives me purpose," and so, but is this
Yeah.
constant reminder?
Well, no, I think it's more that it opened it up,
Mhm.
as opposed to they'll I should say there have been the odd time where I'm you know going through a tough time and down in the dumps, and there's that reminder that I don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
Um, but really, it's more about having opened up something more positive that I can share. I think that's the primary motivation.
Well, when it comes to depression, like in your experience, and this is something I've lived with as well, live with,
Mhm.
but I know everyone's experience is so, it can also be different, even though there's similarities. But um, when do you experience it on and off, or are like, do you see depression as something that happened at one point in your life, and that you are now, I don't know, either in remission or kind of healed from that? Um, like
Yeah.
how is that for in your experience?
Um, yeah, I would say in my experience, the difference now between back then is, you know, the the time frame of, how long I might be in a funk before I am able to pull myself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the period that I'm talking about was, basically 2 years of, hopelessness and, all those wonderful things that go along with depression.
Yeah.
And so, I don't think, um, I don't consider myself, completely healed, or that I'll never experience those sorts of um, states again. Um, but I think someone who has, you know, um, decent mental health will still feel hopeless on occasion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so uh, it's about it's really about how we're coping with daily life that I think really defines our mental health.
Because you've gone through it for 2 years and then maybe shorter periods, is there at least a comfort in knowing, you know what, I've been here before. I know time in time and with certain tools, I can get back out. I don't know
Hmm.
exactly how long this is going to last, but I at least know I'm going to come out of this and it's kind of up to me. Is that, is there any part of that thought process when you're in it?
Yeah, yeah, and I think an important thing to look at or to think about too is that I've I've gotten better at um, communicating, my where I'm at
Hmm.
with other people. I think, you know, uh, one of the most sinister parts of depression is that you, at least in my experience, I felt that I didn't have the worth or whatever it was to be like I felt like a burden to other people during that time. So it's like I didn't communicate what I was going through.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think now you know, it's essential that I communicate when I'm feeling down. The interesting thing that popped up when you talked about, you know, kind of this idea of kind of self-monitoring, like this being able to step away from ourselves and say like, oh yeah, I'm kind of in a bad place right now. This will probably, this will pass. Those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Um, there was an interesting term. This came from kind of, I forget who it was. It was like Timothy Leary or one of the, you know, um, psychedelic psychologists in the 60s. And they called it that we had a biocomputer
Hmm.
and we could, the term was self metaprogram. So it's like we can kind of step away from ourselves and change the programming of our brain essentially. And I think sometimes when I was in, really challenging mental states, it's like I couldn't even step outside myself. I was just stuck in my head. And there
Hmm.
wasn't this like kind of, you know, internal parent or internal therapist who could look at my step outside myself and look at myself and say, okay, what's going on? Yeah,
Love to hear more about your experience with
yeah,
your tools.
definitely. Um, well, I'll start with gratitude because that was definitely the biggest tool for me was taking gratitude out of just something that I felt on a whim to something that I kind of practiced in my life in a mindful way. Um, yeah, that was probably one of the biggest was having a set practice for gratitude.
Yep.
And for me, that was just as simple as, you know, the first thing that I do when I wake up and the last thing I do before going to bed is give thanks for something, right?
Just out loud, or do you actually write it down?
Um, just in my head usually. When I was first starting my practice, I wrote it down. Um, I uh, I read the Rhonda Byrne books, the first two at least, The Secret and the Magic.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the Magic, um, she does a 28-day gratitude practice, which that was my kind of starting place. So
Mm-hmm.
I did the 28-day practice where you do 10, 10 things that you're grateful for every day written down,
Yep.
plus some other exercises. And that, that was the beginnings of it. And I think it gave me a kind of solid foundation of practice. And, once I had that under my belt, I just did, you know, in my head.
Yeah. I love it. I do it
Mm,
too.
yeah.
And for a period of my life, it was something I kind of forced myself to do because I knew I was really struggling to see the good things in my life. Like I kind
Hmm.
of, part of me knew they were there, but they weren't so clear. And then I was leaning on the negative,
Right.
and I wanted more of my brain space to be leaning on the positive
Yeah.
because it feels better and it opens the energy's better. I have more energy
Right.
for some
Yeah, for
reason.
sure. Yeah.
So I'm a big supporter of that, and I love that you talk a lot about gratitude in your book Core Joy.
Hmm. Yeah. I
And
should I should say that my practice, you know, definitely comes and goes as well, like what you say
mhm,
about meditation. You know,
yep,
it's some days I'm better than others. And but
yeah,
I do find that my energy is better when I am um focusing on things that are positive. So
it's interesting. I'm the same, and I think there was a period of time where I would develop these habits. I don't tell me if you're like this too. And then I would step away from them, and then I would feel guilty, and then I would
oh
have
yeah.
anxiety, and then I would feel terrible again. And I was like, what is up with this? Like, but what I've learned is that uh so you only have so much time in a day to,
Yeah.
before you start really stressing yourself out. So if you're practicing something and if you're living in joy and you've learned and you're actively out there you're walking the walk, walking the talk,
Hmm.
talking. You're not just talking, you're actually living and feeling and all that. Then I personally think it's okay to, take a pause from certain habits that got you there. But the last thing it's not helpful at all to feel like guilt or terrible about yourself or whatever. But I do believe in routine and all those things and having a healthy routine. But I also am like, cut yourself some slack. Like
Oh
you've,
yeah.
you're living it. You're good. You're,
Yeah.
you're living in gratitude.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. The
Yeah.
one of the things that came to my mind too, is that it's great to want to think positively, um, but our our evolutionary mind is trained to focus on the negative because you know it's a safety response. It's you know
Hmm.
you know as when we were living out on the savannah, we had to watch out for the lions coming to eat us, right?
Yeah.
um, so focusing on the negative is uh, is a survival mechanism. So
That makes
there's
sense.
so there's nothing wrong with that per se, but we have to, and in this life where thankfully most of us, not all of us, but a lot of us, don't have to worry about our immediate safety, but there are, you know long-term stresses that we have to worry about. And if we focus on those too much, that's when we start to stew in, these bad biochemicals like cortisol and all that sort of thing. So I think, this healthy balance of being able to live in gratitude even when you're stressed
Hmm.
is what we're aiming for. When you look at our cultural evolution in terms of mental health, I think that's one of the great things that's happening right now is that, people, you know, people our age never learned to regulate our nervous systems. We never that wasn't even a thing when we were kids.
Yeah.
Um, but now, some of those practices are starting to make their way into childhood education at some of the better schools and stuff. So that's great.
Yeah. Um, I do want to shine a light on the book Core Joy. You define joy compared to happiness or contentment. Like how are those different? Because I don't even think I really thought much about that. Like everyone just is like, are you happy or are you not happy? And what's so can you talk a little bit about the difference between those things, which you do break down in your book, and everybody should go
Yeah,
read the book. But
yeah, yeah. Well, the way I look at joy is that it can be deeper and kind of more sustainable, um, emotion than happiness or contentment.
Mhm.
Um, so I look at kind of joy as this kind of deeper spiritual thing, as opposed to, the way we look at happiness sometimes is dependent on our circumstances. So, I'll be so happy when I, you know, get my degree, or, I'll be so happy when I get married, or what have you.
Mhm.
Um, whereas joy is kind of this, um, it is in a way maybe closer to contentment. It's this, I think, being comfortable in your own skin as a human on this planet, uh, and having, kind of uh, a deep appreciation for how miraculous it is to just be a human on this planet. Um,
Yeah.
whereas, yeah, happiness or contentment can be fleeting or, more surface level. It's not to say that you can't have deep happiness too, but to me, joy is a little bit more, is a little deeper.
So you can feel joy at a deep level, but you could still be simultaneously, let's say, unhappy, maybe with certain
Yeah,
things in your life. Like, I feel
yeah.
that. I feel
I think
that.
that's the way I look at it. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, maybe this relationship's not going well, and I'm unhappy about that, but I'm I have this, you know, joy, that's core of joy in my heart that's
Yeah.
practically unshakable.
Yeah.
Um, back when I was younger, and I was, even though I don't subscribe to any kind of organized religion now, I was brought up in an organized religion,
Mhm.
and to me, core joy is the closest thing I have now to, just a love for God, right? A
Interesting.
love for, yeah.
On page 40, I love this part, even though it sounds really morbid. You remind readers that we're going to die. We are mortals. So
Yes.
enjoy it while you can. And I love that so much because well, I mean, it was relatable to me when I was young and I had experienced losing my father and being with him as he was dying. And then having that experience change everything, the choices I made after that. And death became this beautiful reminder, to follow this what I call path with heart now.
Mhm.
And I still feel that way when I feel like I'm getting off path a bit. I come back to, this idea that I am not going to be here forever. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. what matters most. That, my relationships are good. I'm happy with who I am. There's nothing to really be afraid of. Like, I'm in this lucky position right now. It's kind of a position of privilege. I'm not rich. But I feel like and I feel like, well, then if I don't really have to worry about that, then what do I want to do? Like, and why don't I just do it? So it's this nice reminder to do the things that are really important, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that where you were going with that?
Yeah. When I was younger, I didn't really think about my mortality that much. And, I had some interesting experiences, which I talk about with psychedelics, which, um, if you, for those that don't know, if you take enough of them, you feel like you're going to die and you
Hmm.
feel like you have died.
Hmm.
Um, and those experiences kind of got me thinking about death a lot. And, uh, yeah, so, I mean, now that I'm getting older, I definitely look at the clock ticking more than I did back then.
Hmm.
But it does motivate me in a way to, squeeze what I can out of life for sure.
Do you have a bucket list?
I don't have a particular, like, I've tried the bucket list
Hmm.
and I yeah, I'm pretty easygoing and kind of loosey goosey about my bucket list. I don't have a lot of really specific things.
Yeah, that's
Um,
okay.
yeah,
In some ways, and I don't know if you can relate to this or not, but like when I was younger, I I would never have dreamed that I could ever record an album, record a song in a studio, and then you do that thing, and you're like, "Well, I'm really happy, like I'm really content or happy, or like I
yeah,
can't believe that happened." Or, and then if you're lucky enough, something else comes along that you never could have dreamed of, and sometimes I legit am like, I am the luckiest girl. I found I've have love in my life. Like, I guess I could make up some more things I want to do, but there's a little part of me that feels bad for not necessarily having massive, bigger dreams to,
yeah, yeah.
become president of the United States. Although I think I could do a good job. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah,
But I
yeah,
think you could too, Mike. Thanks. Um, however, so I think that's actually kind of cool if you don't necessarily have a bucket
yeah,
list. But
yeah.
it's
I mean, I feel like a lot of those things change over time. Like if you had asked me like 10 years ago what was on my bucket list,
Mhm,
travel would have been a big one. Like I might have said I want to visit all seven continents. And I think I might
mhm,
have written that down at some point. And
yeah.
that doesn't really seem as important to me anymore. Um, you know,
Yeah,
I
good
think
point. Things can
I think
change, your
that
desires can change.
yeah, I think I'm you know headed maybe more towards buying a little homestead and raising animals and growing food now than
Yeah, I'm with
you know
you.
what I mean.
I'm with
Yeah,
you. Um, I also love that you talked about the state of flow in your book, as it triggered for me. I don't know how I got my hands on this book in high school, but the book Flow by Mihaly, I cannot pronounce, and I've never been able to, his last name. Can you?
yeah. I think it's pronounced Saint Mihaly,
Okay, thank
but
you
I'm not
for
sure.
Saint
Yeah.
Mihaly. A great book that actually f- uh, it affected my decision to not watch television for most of my life.
Wow.
Um, as I remember reading in the book about, I don't know, just I guess that being like a passive form of entertainment that wasn't, and I made me think about all the time I could be spending like reading a book and or making something or having an experience that fueled me some other way creatively. Um, and I know I'm due for a reread of flow for sure. But you mentioned the state of flow, and um, can you talk about what the role that flow plays in joy, in cultivating joy, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. The the experts in flow and St. Mahaley himself kind of scoffed a little bit at you know the idea of flow being associated with happiness, which is kind of funny.
Hmm.
But I see it as um, flow. The more we can get into to flow, the more we feel on purpose, the more we feel you know um, that we're accomplishing something in an efficient way. um, I think that contributes definitely to joy, because I think when you're in a state of flow, you're doing something that matters to you, and you're doing it. Um, you're having easy success with it. So that's definitely joyful in my
Hmm.
books. But yeah, I guess St. Mahaley was not happy about his theory being applied to as a theory of happiness. But
Yeah, interesting.
yeah,
Well, my experience with flow is that what I guess helps me know when I'm in it or not is I really can relate to that. The experience of you are doing something and you're not thinking. It's like you're not aware of anything before or after. Like you are in it.
hmm,
Time and hours can go by. Even okay, sometimes I get hungry and that will interrupt. But I could go longer without eating. Otherwise, I'm
yeah,
constantly thinking about snacking. If I'm bored or doing something I don't really love to do. You don't necessarily want to do it forever, but that it's just this. It's the ultimate experience of being present is how
yeah.
I know it.
For me, songwriting was the best kind of flow example and activity.
Yeah.
Like especially when you get to a point where you kind of know where the structure of the song is going, and maybe you've got like the chorus, and then it's about fleshing out the rest. Like
Hmm.
that's when the flow state usually hits for me. It's like I'm off to the races then.
And is it the same in putting together a book?
Prose writing is a little bit, it's definitely more methodical.
Hmm.
um, I, I definitely do get into flow states with prose writing, but um, in terms of the like amount of time I can sit there and forget that I'm hungry, like
Hmm.
I think it's I think that type of flow is more likely to happen when I'm writing, poetry or music as opposed to prose.
Yes. The thing about songwriting, which I love too, is that it can all fit on one page and visually, I can see it and almost kind of map it out. Whereas it can be, I mean, I've never, published a book, but I certainly daydream about, writing prose writing and um but there's a bit of an overwhelm because I can't see it all necessarily on a page, and
Right.
it feels overwhelming. So I uh, I think there's got to be a practice or a trick to help organize that so that mind mapping might be something that would help me with that, but and maybe others to
Yeah.
break it down into bits and organize it so that it doesn't feel so overwhelming, because it is a lot. It's a lot more. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
not that songwriting is super easy always, but when you do something long enough and it does fit on a page and there are patterns and you get better at it, sometimes it does flow pretty quick,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that I can, with prose writing, it's usually like I'm sitting at my laptop
Hmm.
doing nothing else for, an hour or two. Whereas with
Hmm.
songwriting, I can be like bopping around my kitchen and, the
Yeah.
lyrics are over on the table and I can be walking around with my guitar staring out the window. Um, so I think it's easier to get into flow for me because of that.
Hmm.
Sitting at a computer is not fun.
Oh, tell us about Realm Boutique, and how it came into being, and let's get people to go. I was there recently with my dear friend Krista Keogh, and we had
Yeah,
you do a tarot reading, which was so much fun. So yeah, tell us about Realm and what people can expect when they walk in. And I love the place. I love it.
sure thing. Yeah. Yeah, Realm is the brainchild of my best friend, Kim Bennett.
Hey, Kim.
Hey, Kim, we we call ourselves Will and Grace. She's except I'm not gay and she's not a natural redhead. So
I love it.
yeah, yeah. So she opened this shop 6 years ago, and we call ourselves a metaphysical boutique, but
Hmm.
we do uh, crystals and minerals. We do jewelry. We do, incenses. We have um, a wonderful curiosity section where we have, you know, um, mounted bats and bones and mummy wraps and all these like weird kind of curiosities and oddities,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. And self-care products. It's a pretty chill, clean environment. People come for the vibes. Sometimes they just come in and say, I don't want to buy anything today, but I just want to hang out in this beautiful space.
Hmm. It's just a real energetically like lovely feeling to walk in and look at things, touch things,
Yeah,
talk to
thank
Mike
you.
and Kim, and maybe is the cat there sometimes? One of your cats?
Sometimes, yeah. The Baz is the hairless cat,
Baz, yeah,
and
Baz.
yeah, prior to the pandemic, she was there, maybe 5 days a week, and lately it's been quite a bit less than that, but she still comes in every once in a while.
And tell us, where can people find Core Joy, Cultivating Sustainable Deep Happiness? Where can they find your book, more about your music, and even Realm?
My stuff, you can start at mikeaubé.com for the book. My music, Mike Aubé Music on most platforms, YouTube, Spotify, etc. Realm is Realm on Elm on Instagram, and realmboutique.ca.
And would you mind if we used one of your songs at the end of this podcast to let people know, so they can hear what your beautiful music is like?
Of course, absolutely.
Yay!
Hey,
Well, thank you, Mike, for chatting with Heart with me, and in your work and your book and your conversations. I think you remind us that, even in tough times in the world, when it feels like we should be way further ahead as a society, there are really good people everywhere in beautiful pockets of the world, like in Wolfville, spreading joy and love. And I believe that matters. And
yeah.
that's you. I'm talking about you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and thank you for having me on today.
I'm pushing my girl on a swing under ducks and tornadoes, picking shells on the beach, sand between our toes. Those family dinners where you get so high, quiet sunsets that paint the sky. Well, I'm thankful for these little moments together. They all add up to bigger blessings together. We belong together. together. It's love. I don't want to say goodbye to you. Oh, I don't want to say goodbye to you.
Welcome to the Heartbeat Hotline, 1-902-669-4769. I'm the host of A Chat with Heart podcast, Christina Martin, and I'm so excited you called. Leave me your question, a suggestion for the podcast, or a comment about this episode. Please be aware your message may be used on the podcast and social media. Tell me your name, where you're calling from, and it's also fine if you want to remain anonymous. Thanks for listening. Have a great fucking day. Hey, thanks for listening to A Chat with Heart, produced by me, Christina Martin. Co-produced and engineered by my partner in life and sound, Dale Murray. Dale's not just a wizard with knobs, he's also a killer singer-songwriter, session musician, and music producer. Go snoop around his world at dalemurray.ca. The podcast theme song, Talk About It, and I Don't Want to Say Goodbye to You were written by me and recorded by Dale. Want to support what we do? You can snag CDs, vinyl, digital music, and some weirdly delightful merch like custom puzzles and temporary tattoo packs over on my Bandcamp. If you're into keeping indie art alive or just want good karma, become a monthly or yearly member on my Patreon. It's a platform that helps creators get paid to keep making stuff we love. I swear by it. Sign up, free or paid, at patreon.com/Christina Martin. If this podcast made you laugh, cry, think, or rage text your best friend, do me a solid, share it, rate it, review it, and hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts. And to all my little heartbeat listeners, stay weird, stay tender, and I'll catch you next time.